shimmery.
Corbett just said something very interesting and profound about art. We're talking about philosophy and about curiosity. And
Well, you had mentioned people having momentum and being able to draw whatever you wanted to, whenever you wanted to.
Yeah.
Just being able to sit down and draw. And some people don't have that.
Right.
I said at the coffee shop that I frequent, down at Priscilla's Coffee in Burbank, I was noticing that there were a lot of younger artists that were coming in, especially artists from art schools. I'm not exactly sure what that has to do with it.
Yeah.
That didn't have that momentum. And I could sit down and draw people in there. If the people weren't there, I'd draw on all of them. I could draw of a magazine, or we would just come up, brainstorm for ideas and draw them, or draw something out of my head. I would think of something funny I'd seen earlier and try to go off of that.
So exactly. You can go back and forth from eye hand to imagination.
Sure. And they couldn't comprehend that. What they would do is they would sit there and they would doodle the same head for an hour and a half, with this construction lines. They would just kind of noodle there all night long because they didn't have anywhere else to go with it.
Right.
Meanwhile, I had filled an entire page with, caricatures from people in the...
Yeah.
Or I might draw somebody sitting beside me that I thought had a goofy face, but after I got it down on paper, I didn't think it was goofy enough, so I'd redraw them again, and then redraw that again. I just keep, doing it until I got the result that I wanted. And they were still working on the same kind of, okay, here's the cranium, here's the eye line, here's the...
Have you noticed that?
Draw.
That's funny. This is instantly recognizable as Charles Bronson.
Oh, that's right. I was doing a Bronson. I did 3 or 4 preliminary sketches, and I was trying too hard, so I quit.
Oh, well, there's some cheap porno. Speaking of Chatsworth.
Good.
Oh wow! Looks like you've got some Robert Mitchum going here, there, Corbett.
Check it out, boom! It's one of those egg beaters coming back. There's a helicopter episode.
Oh yes.
One of those overgrown egg beaters.
Gosh, Yogi.
Oh, this is great. You can almost hear the drum. Remember, there was always that boom, 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 boom when he did the sort of a Jackie Gleason.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And the...
They had the greatest walk cycles in these. You can really learn a lot from these Hanna Barbaras because they were so... Well, people like to call them limited animation, but they did so much with what they had. The backgrounds that's what I'm looking at right now. These backgrounds from, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Mantealegre, perhaps.
Oh, yeah.
They're absolutely gorgeous. And they did them with, whatever they just had lying around. They're doing them with sponges and what do you like the poster paints, like not acrylics, but I can't think of the name of it, but just cheap paints. They're so much better than the geometric kind of bland stuff they have.
Yeah. Nice.
Some heads here.
I was telling you the other day online that that drawing you did of that Nikki girl looked just like Ileana Douglas.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I still think it looked more like Ileana. You showed me the photo.
Likeness wasn't a big factor for me with that one as a quick sketch. Oz cards have helped to reinforce something that I already knew, but I probably wasn't taking as seriously as I am now, which is making sure that the lines that you put down have a purpose. With the exception of maybe Drucker or Jack Davis, which had a lot of incidental lines that maybe they had purpose to them, but a lot of lines are just kind of put there to fill space.
Right.
I think the lines that I'm putting down now have a little more purpose to them.
Exactly.
A little more thought.
Yeah.
Well, what does this guy's nose look like exactly, and does it necessarily need both sides?
A light and shadow sometimes play a factor into it too.
Sure. I don't do a whole lot. People ask me a lot of times to put color into these, but I don't do a whole lot of color. I get bogged down when I get into light and shadow and color and stuff like that, so I try to stay away from it. Death is in the details.
Oh, I'm telling you.
I can ruin a piece in seconds once I start noodling.
That's what's hard for me to explain to a lot of non-artists or non-caricaturists, is that line is the most beautiful thing, and what you can do with line is so much more exquisite than and so much more stylized than what you do with color and shadow and shading and detail, those kind of things. Because I think a lot of people non-artists are more attracted to shading,
Oh, absolutely. I finally stopped posting on this particular message board that I frequent because my type of artwork doesn't appeal to them. I don't fault them for it, but what they want to see are finished, full-color illustrations.
Yeah.
And I can post, not to be big on myself, but some of these sketches I think are pretty good.
Oh, absolutely.
They're good they show good draftsmanship.
Right.
Somebody will post a mediocre or bad full color illustration, and boom, they automatically have 20 or 30. Oh, great job! Oh, this is awesome.
That same rule applies in caricature too.
Yeah.
Color always sells.
Really?
You know, I mean, I can't tell you how many times, because I'm charging now 15 black and white, 25 color, and I'll get people who say, well, we'd rather have nothing than just do a black and white one.
Really?
We'd rather, but we don't want to pay $25, but we want a color.
Oftentimes, I'll just sketch straight in ink, because it removes. If I start in pencil and then ink, I destroy my own drawings because I start noodling it to death. Too many details. And I stay away from color and shading for the same reasons.
The people who are into anime, have you ever been with people who are fascinated and obsessed with anime? If there's a form of drawing tyranny, that's it to me.
That's absolutely it. Now they have books, and I just saw they have a computer program to help you draw manga. Right. And it does now. They've taken that responsibility away from the artist. The program actually draws the lines for you, and now you just fill in your eyes and your facial features and everything.
So. Which is always basically a tiny little slit of a mouth, a tiny little triangle for a nose,
right? Triangle,
and eyes the size of frisbees.
That's
basically.
right. The nose thing I can get past, because I was almost, Dan DiCarlo kind of did that on a lot of his girls, and I think some other artists did that.
Dan DiCarlo,
but
from Archie's?
From the Archies, yeah. The giant eyes and the tiny little mouths that don't really, especially in the animation, that don't really mouth anything. They have two positions, open and closed.
Yeah. I know, it's absurd.
You want me to draw something?
I would love to see your take on. Have you ever tried drawing it just for fun?
No, I haven't.
Well, you've looked at it enough that it must be burned into your brain. I mean,
sure. What? Well, I haven't. I avoided it at all costs, and I repress any images that I have seen. What do we have? They usually have some sort of like spiky hair or something. Spiky hair is always good. They always have hair hanging in their face too.
Yes. And they're always young and pretty in a really bland way.
Or they have very angular faces. Actually, I do like when they get upset, they just kind of
draw a peanut.
Right. Well, just it covers the whole face. And what are their eyes like?
I think of them as the golden arches.
Instead of the little half circle nose that we were talking about, I'm not even going to do a nose, because that's my favorite type of anime, when they just don't do the nose completely.
Yeah. Like the Bratz, B-R-A-T-Z.
Oh my gosh, yeah, those little whores.
I knew you'd know about
what a wonderful. I actually had a friend who was working on some of the production art for that. It was killing him.
Oh man,
I don't remember what. Isn't that awful?
Why do now, Muse? Yeah. And it seemed like they're not complete. It seemed like they're just half circles or three-quarter circles.
Something like this, you mean?
Yeah. On your knees, bitch.